Hello everyone, I'm Lily. Today I will show you a video for the course named Organizing and Leading Change. In this video, the topic I would like to present is how to decrease resistance to change through an effective communication plan. The video will consist of a short introduction, change management and change leadership, resistance to change, communication style, communication plan model, and the conclusion. The reason why I am interested in this topic is that resistance is one of four phases in the process of organizational change, and the resistance to change is a natural and normal response because people experience unknown and unfamiliar things in the process. The purpose of this video is to explore how a communication plan affects resistance in the process of organizational change and to build a general model of an effective communication plan in order to decrease resistance to change. Progress represents change, and there is no doubt that organizations need to progress. A general model of planned change could be divided into four phases: exploration, planning, action, and integration. This general model is highly applicable in the most change situations. However, even the potential benefits from change would not take every person willing or able to accept the change they face. Conversely, it is a common belief that the majority of people would resist change. From the management point of view, resistance of change is seen as organization members' natural behaviors to refuse change. There are four different reasons for resistance to change in the implementation of organization change. The reasons include fear to lose something of value, misunderstanding of change and its applications, belief that change does not make sense, and a low tolerance for change. But one of common methods to overcome resistance is to educate and communicate with people about change beforehand. Communicating with employees about the ideas could help them to have a clear understanding of the requirements and the logic of change. So, effective and positive communication could decrease resistance to change in some extent. Organizational communication takes place on multiple levels: interpersonal or face-to-face level, group level, and organizational level. The purpose, topic, and the method of three levels are different, and effective communication should switch between different levels or conduct communication on multiple levels at the same time. Communication networks represent how communication flows in an organization. Networks can be divided into two categories: formal and informal communication, and the formal one transfers messages through official pathways, which reflects the organization's hierarchy. In contrary, informal communication flows through unofficial paths. Even though employees believe that informal communication, which is often interpersonal and horizontal, are more effective than formal one, employees can obtain better understanding and interpretation of their organizations and both communication networks. Communication channels can be categorized as print, electronic, and face-to-face. The most frequently used channel is listening. Effective listening is extremely crucial to understanding, learning, and productive teamwork. So the attractive context and the method of communication which can grasp audience attention enables leaders more effective in uncovering and resolving problems. So the most appropriate selection of media is significant for communicators when the objectives and structures, relevance, audience, and formulated messages have been determined. Then I would build a general model of effective and positive communication plan that is based on a four-phase model of planned change and different reasons of resistance to change. As we can see, the first step in the process of change management is to prepare for change, and the first step in communication plan is description of background, goal, and opportunity. In this part, the reason for doing this change should be clear and shared firstly, because in that way leaders could provide employees with a primary understanding of change. So leaders should describe the background, goal, and the purpose of change, which decreases or eliminates employees' fear to unpredicted change. Then, in order to make employees accept the organizational change easily, leaders should identify that their topics of communication in this part must consist of potential opportunities for employees. In other words, employees would not be afraid to lose something of value. To communicate with followers effectively, leaders should transfer their reason and the purpose of change interpersonally and informally, which is more understandable and accessible by the employees, for example, through simple announcement. Then the second part of change management is plan for change, which is extremely important in the whole process because detailed plan increase the possibility to achieve success in the change. Regarding communication plan in this stage, how to formulate the message and analysis with target groups offers essential basis to the success of change. A good expression of central message and a clear call of communication avoid employees' misunderstanding of change and its implication, and enhance their belief that the change is meaningful for the organization as well as themselves. And the leaders can get a clear picture of employees' interests, uncertainty, and problems through positive interaction with target groups by communication, which can be helpful for the leaders to modify the change plan immediately and appropriately. So, at group level, communication occurs when informal and formal communication are combined and read effectively, and diverse communication channels are involved at the same time. The third part, which can be described as the most important part in the change process, is to lead, manage, and control the change. Correspondingly, communication plan in this part is relatively more complicated. As I have mentioned before, when the change is implemented, a low tolerance for change is more likely to be manifested. In order to lead and manage change successfully, leaders should consume much time in active learning to different opinions and feedbacks from different hierarchies, which involves multiple level communication. Employees' low tolerance can be described or eliminated through education. So leaders should be supported to conduct various types of training and coaching, which can be online or offline, formal or informal, and in person or in group. Last but not least, sustaining changing is equally important in the end. Communication plan goes up to a higher level that involves the whole organization, because formal evaluation of change should be delivered to all relevant employees and stakeholders. In this part, delivering message and success via formal channels, for example print and electronic channels, is more appropriate because people would feel more inspired and encouraged. This is a completely communication plan model in the change process from beginning to end. Different communication levels, networks, and channels are used and combined in the different stages. In summary, communication levels, networks, and channels have significant effects to reduce resistance in the change management. However, it does not mean there are no facts as important as above three and that could contribute to effective communication. An effective communication plan for change is a combination of multiple levels, networks, and channels, and a positive interaction between senders and receivers. So when leaders decide to implement a change for an organization, they should make a detailed communication plan for every stage of the change, until the details in the communication plans are the most appropriate and effective to decrease internal resistance to change.